Welcome to Symonds Plains Raceway here in northern Tasmania for my first ever Motorkhana. I've never done a Motorkhana prior to this, and to be honest, I really didn't know what to expect or exactly what it was going to be, but that didn't stop me. It sounded interesting, so I thought, hey, what a good opportunity to get my RX7 out and do some motorsport. Now, before we go any further, I didn't really intend on filming this event. I threw the cameras in just in case, basically, and kind of half-assed it. So I missed heaps of stuff. The camera work at times was a bit average, and heaps of it was actually filmed off our mobile phones. So, moving on. What exactly is a Motorkhana? Well, according to Wikipedia, it's a low-cost form of motorsport, unique to Australia and New Zealand, but similar to auto testing in the UK and Ireland and gymkhana in the US. It involves manoeuvring a car through tight tests as quickly as possible, one car at a time, either on dirt or bitumen surfaces. So this was on a thumping great slab of smooth and slippery concrete on the hard stand at my local racetrack. They run a number of configurations throughout the day and give you a track guide with instructions like this. Now, if I zoom in a bit, you can see that it makes some sense of the cones. You can see the stack of cones that you have to start in, the specific path you then have to take throughout all the cones, and then where you have to come to a complete stop. Now, this might look okay looking at it now, but let me tell you, it's not that easy. When you're actually out there, you're literally just looking at a field of cones that you have to remember the path. And obviously you lose marks and you lose time and whatever else if you don't get the course right. If you actually look at that and realise that you have to now go and drive a car out amongst those cones and get that exactly right, it's not as easy as you might think. My tactic for the day was basically this, to shove the map in the steering column right in front. Obviously you don't need your speedo or revs or anything like that, so I just sort of shoved it in there and tried to use it like a track map that you'd see on Gran Turismo or something, but I'm not overly sure and I'm not super convinced that it was that useful. In the end, you kind of have to look at the track and you got to go from memory, but you don't actually have that much time to memorise the track. Of course, having to remember the track is part of the challenge, and it helps even the playing field up as well. If your car's not as good as other cars out there, but you've got a better memory, then it increases the chance. One thing I really didn't enjoy is in one of the stages, you actually had to reverse during the stage. So you had to accelerate forward, come to a complete stop, and then reverse, and I really didn't enjoy that. I feel like that's just, first of all, it feels silly to go backwards during a race of some sort. Or a time trial, but on top of that, I just think it puts a lot of pressure on gearboxes. People are going to smash it into reverse. I took my time and really came to a complete stop, put it in reverse, but I don't know, I feel like that's just asking for people to get mechanical issues. Now, in terms of the quickest way to get around these tracks, as flash and as sick dog as this guy looks in his Commodore getting sideways, and I'm sure he's having a good time and good on him, it's actually not the quickest way to get around the track. Obviously, if you're sideways, you're not going forward. So, having said that, this Skyline, which is obviously going, it looks fast, it sounds fast, and he's doing a bit of drift, was actually one of the quicker cars on the day. So, yeah, it's about being smooth, consistent, remembering your course, I suppose. When it comes to who the fastest car on the day was, it was this car here. I showed it at the start, the Fiat 127. This guy was a very, very good driver. The car was set up for this very thing. He was quick, smooth, fast, and he won overall. As for me and how I did in the RX7, actually not too bad. I think I was 11th at the end of the day out of about 36, so considering this is my first time doing it, I made a mistake on all but 2 of my runs, and the RX7, the handbrake barely worked, so I wasn't able to flick the back end of the car around. I've got an open diff, so no drifting going on there. The car's really sort of not set up for it, but yeah, anyway, despite that, I was relatively happy with the result. Now, ironically, my best run, where I think I came 6th in that run, was actually the one that you had to reverse in, despite me saying earlier that I really hated it. But anyway, I've got a footage of that entire run. It doesn't take very long. Let's kick back and watch. Yeah, so that was my best run, but it was also probably my least favourite run. Just the whole reverse thing, it looked slow, it felt slow, it was just one of those ones that I happened to do well on for whatever reason. But as much as that is my least favourite but fastest run, next up is going to be my favourite run. It just flowed nice, it felt fast, it was really good. So let's have a look at that. In summary, it was alright. I mean, if you've done track days or race meets on a racetrack, then this was obviously a different thing. It's basically a piss about in the car park with some structure, rules and timing. Obviously Motorkhanas come in different shapes and sizes, and maybe this one was particularly small. As mentioned before, purely a personal gripe, but I'm not a fan of using reverse in any kind of race/time trial. And as for affordability, you still need a club membership, a day licence from Motorsport Australia, plus entry fees. But with all that in mind, it was fun. I mean, you can run pretty much any car you like. It's not too hard on the car if you don't valve bounce it. You won't ruin the brakes or wear the tyres out, so your mum's Camry or your VW Polo are totally fine. It's also super beginner friendly. If you've never done more than drive a car to the shops and go to uni and back, then this is a safe environment to thrash a car about, have a good time with few obstacles and no other road users. I will probably do it again, most likely in the WRX next time. The short gearing, extra torque I've had tuned in and the all drive should make it really competitive. I will do a better job of filming it next time too. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you around.